cough. Right. No, I don't have anything. So, hello everybody. Yes, we have returned from our vacation, and I see that a lot of you have mentioned that you were following along when I posted videos last week, and you seem to enjoy them, so I'm glad you did. So, I trust everybody can see and hear us. We're a little out of practice on this. We have new music in the timer now because apparently I got demonetized the last live we did. Um, Even though I put in an authorized, like a YouTube, whatever they call it, open common music thing. Royalty free, yeah, from their library. But I think that whoever created that music has gone licensed now. So had to change it to a different one. So, yeah, whatever. Okay, so what's everybody saying? Inez is here, and Suzanne. Jan is here. Judy's here. Cheryl. Donna. Heather. Karen is here. And Deb. And Patsy. And Nadine is here. And Barb Olson. And Sue. And Dale. And Catherine. And Colleen. And Gail, she's here and here too, and so sweet Granny Quilting, and Lucy 7B is here. Yeah, we kept you in the loop with it all, and Kathy's here. Purple Wall is here. That's Kay. Steve Walter, I'm so glad you made it back. I'll still be on the other side of that. And Scrunchions is here. Okay, so lots of people joining us. It's nice to, well, we can't see you, but it's nice to read what you're writing as well. Yeah, we missed our regular as well. But yeah, this time on a trip, most of the time the technology was really quite good. So only had some issues when we were in Victoria, but not that major an issue, but most places we stayed, the internet connection was really, really good. I was really surprised. So that's how much technology has changed since the last time we were on a trip. Bridge. Oh, okay, bridge. Got it. So anyways, yep, we returned safe and sound, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the trip as well. You've heard lots of things about it if you've watched the videos, and if you haven't been watching the videos, I've now put them all into one playlist on my site that's just called Stephen and Walter Go West. So if you're interested in seeing them, they're all there in one part. I think there's 10 videos in total in there. So anyways,
Jeannie, Purple Wall.
Oh, Jeannie's
Carol, here. Carrie Living Good.
Karen Living Good, yep. Yep.
We're just drinking the usual. I have Kilkenny and Steve has Guinness.
My Guinness. I have my Guinness as well. So, anyways, let's get started. So, what have I been working on? Nothing. Well, not quite true, but I'll mention that in a minute. Since we got back, you know what it's like when you've been on a holiday, right? You come back to try to get back into your normal routine, and there's always things you have to do, like laundry. And, you know, getting caught up on things. So I really haven't created anything, but I can tell you I came home with a lot of inspiration for projects. Just not enough time to do them all. However, I did do one little project today, and that is since the retreat is next Saturday, and that's also the coronation of King Charles, I have created my official coronation commemorative pillow. There it is. Now, while we were away, somebody posted on a Facebook group that I belong to that involves designing embroidery patterns for your machine. And somebody put this up and said, go ahead and use it. So I did it. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with it when I'm done? So I made it into a little teeny pillow, you know, to rest my royal head upon. The little royal's head. There you go. Touch my pillow with your greasy head. Yeah, it's just fun, I think. Anyways, that's what I've been up to. And I've got some plans to, well, I've got to get on to my first major project is to finish up the All Stars quilt, Stephanie Stitch's design. And I want to get started on my native, I don't know what you want to call it, my indigenous quilt. I've actually bought some more of that fabric when at one of the quilt stores we were in. I saw a fat quarter bundle of it, so I picked some more up because it's not an easy fabric to get, that particular type. And while we were out there and visited with my brother and sister-in-law, my sister-in-law voiced an interest in having a quilt made for their bed. So I'm in the process of finding some designs based on her preferences to send to her for her to take a look at and tell me what she wants, and then we'll start talking about fabric colors. She wants something in a
Well, it sounds like she doesn't want anything too bright.
no, she wants
It's
it in sort of
blues and
grays and
grays.
blues, and she doesn't want the blues to be too bold either. So I can work with that. And we're talking about possibly a herringbone pattern. She's leaning towards more of a modern style quilt. Um, and we did see their house, so we saw, what their aesthetic is, and I can see why she would pick those kind of colors. Um, that's the difference between a quilter and a non-quilter, I think. I think a quilter picks either because of the fabric line or the design. I think people who are non-quilters pick quilts according to home decor to fit into that, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and they're like they seem to be a little bit afraid of things with patterns in it and lots
Mhm.
of patterns and stuff like that.
So yeah, so this will be an interesting process in the meantime. But so who else has joined us? Jeannie. Uh, yes, Purple Wall. It is the countdown to the retreat. We're coming to that. Deb, going to show us your new stash of fabric today? Uh, yes and no. Stay tuned. And Ron's here. Hi, Ron. So Walter did buy some Speaking of fabrics, I did buy quite a bit actually. I said I wasn't going to. I was going to constrain myself to just the stuff that I thought I couldn't get anywhere else. Well, we'll talk about that. But Walter bought some fabric as well. Hello, Milena. So, Walter, show us your
Yeah, I
fabrics.
bought. There was one place we went to. It was Troll Brothers in out in the off the beaten path on Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
And they had some travel fabric, which I don't see around much in regular quilt stores. So I thought, well, one might be nice for a novelty shirt or something like that. So I bought some meterage of both of those, and one is got like all kinds of places in the world on it.
Hold it up a little closer to the camera.
So it's kind of interesting. I thought one of those ones that you should maybe have. And then there's another one I got, which is a little bit plainer, and it's got like Cairo on it,
In London.
and de Janeiro, and Bangkok, and London. I thought that was kind of neat, so I got that. And then I have a shirt that I made out of ferns and that, and I found some fabric that was similar. And I have seen it before somewhere, but I think it's out of print right now. So I thought I'd get it anyway because I liked it. And it's got stuff on it. It's a great shirt. You can eat a hot dog because it has mustard stains all over. But it's this was fern fabric, so I thought I'd get that as well. That's the only 3 fabrics I bought. So
More shirts for me.
yeah,
Maybe some for Walter. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, yeah. So we bought some fabrics. Now, what are people saying here? Oh, Derek's here. Hi, Derek. And Julie's here. And Stacy Lee is here. And Alexandria are here. Derek says, hello. Really enjoyed your vacation videos. Thank you. Julie says she's glad we got back. And Stacy, hello from Manitoba. Enjoyed your vacation videos. Was so happy to see your maple leaf quilt shown by Chelsea Stratton on the Quilting Life podcast while you were away. Oh, did she? I'll have to look that one up because I missed her. I always watch regularly on that, and I'll have to take a look at that. Again, thanks for letting me know that, Stacy Lee. Yes, you're late, but you're here. That's all that matters, Alexandria. Um, yeah, so, Jess, as I mentioned to Stephanie that I went on a bender since she left, all her and your fault, of course. She laughed. I placed an order to Chitter Chatter, mentioned your name. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Chitter Chatter a little bit because that was probably, well, we went to several
Yeah, we
outstanding.
went to a couple of places that we didn't think would be much be of much interest before we got there because they were like in houses and stuff. But both places were really astounding.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to show you some things about that too. But first of all, Janice is here. Hello, Janice. Walter, how much fabric do you buy for a
Actually,
shirt?
I bought this stuff at Chitter Chatter. Oh, Chitter
Which that
Chatter?
one? Chitter Chatter, the one with the
No,
goats?
no, that wasn't Chitter Chatter. That's the one that we got in.
The trolls? No, the trolls you
Not
got.
the trolls. This is the one that we got in the other interesting ladies one that was.
Oh,
What's the name?
Carolas.
Carolas. That's
Carolas.
where I got Carola stuff.
Yeah.
How much fabric do I buy? Usually, I can get away with 2.5 meters or 2.5 yards actually of that. I usually end up buying three just in case I have a problem. And I have to recut something. I usually have a little too much left over. So I mean, yeah, I'm not really a good judge if you want to say fabric.
No. So,
I mean, you can a long sleeve shirt will still be 3 meters
yeah.
too. So
Well, you can get by with less, but
I
you
can
make a
get by
mistake.
with less. I usually don't like to get less than 2.5 meters,
Yeah.
or actually 2.5 yards is maybe my minimum.
Now,
But
Barb said she sent me an email about the live with the quilting live. I did not see that email. Did you send it today or did you send it while we were away? I watched my email every day, but I wasn't using my usual devices, so there's a possibility that I missed it. So thank you for sending that to me. But I will definitely check out. I imagine that was last week's quilting life. They usually do them on 2 Mondays, the first and third Monday of every month, something like that, or the fourth. I don't know. Have to check it out, but I'll look for it. So thank you for letting me know. And Alexandria says, I went on a huge shopping spree. It was fun. I got to support my local quilt shop. I think I paid their wages for the week. Yeah, I know how you feel, Alexandria. That's usually what I do too. Derek says, I thought Corolla was amazing. So interesting, enthusiastic, and inspiring. She has a ton of ideas for modern quilts. And there's a bunch there I want to try. I'm going to have to go back and review the video. Like I said, I came home with all kinds of ideas. I need to be three of me to do all these things that I want to do. Carosa would be an excellent presenter on a retreat. She's amazing. Yes, Jan, that thought went through my head. I asked her about doing an interview with her, and she said she'd love to, but she put me off a little bit because she said, but give me a couple of months. I'm really busy right now. Yeah, okay, I'll have to remember to send the email or something. I'm not so much sure if she would be a presenter at a retreat because this is also her business, and she does do trunk shows and workshops and things like that, which she charges for because it's her business. And of course, with my retreats, I can't afford to pay a presenter. It's free. But I already have that idea in the back of my head. I might ask, see what response I get from her for the fall retreat. Julie says, I'm crocheting a 5-point shawl, trying to use up the yarn stash. Lion brand shawl in a ball in a soothing blue. Okay, well, Julie, we don't care about crocheting and knitting. I'm sorry. No, that's not true. With it
sounds
nice.
good.
Oh, Brenda's here. Oh, Brenda, you've returned home, I see, to Vancouver, Washington. And you brought home the sunny weather, 87 degrees on Friday. Well, nice there, yeah. It wasn't while we were on our trip. It was rainy and it was coolish, and it was our last day there though. The weather was beautiful.
It was nice and clear and sunny.
And guess what the weather's like here at home? Just
rainy.
Like it was in Vancouver. Coolish and rainy. Yeah, the whole bit. Some announcements before we go much further. This Wednesday, busy day. We have Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen at 9 a.m. The link for that's in the show notes below for those of you that are regulars at that, or for those of you that want to become a regular. Sorry to those people last Wednesday. I think it was last Wednesday. There wasn't one because I got an email from Stephanie. Stephanie was really sick. And of course, I couldn't run it because I wasn't there, but she asked me if I could somehow get an email or a message out to everybody. And the only way I could do that was to go through my mailing list. So some of you that, have no interest in that Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen got the email anyways, and I explained why. But also it came late because I did not see Stephanie's email until about 9:30 Vancouver time. So that meant that it was almost noon, or pretty much noon, for the Eastern time zone people. So yeah, sorry about that, but we'll live. And I hear Stephanie said, I don't know if Stephanie's on here. I haven't seen her pop up yet. Stephanie said I sent her an email. She said she was feeling better and everything should be good for this Wednesday coming up. So that's this Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Zoom links in the show notes. And then at 1 o'clock, we switch over to Craft and Chat, and the Zoom link for that is in the show notes as well. That starts at 1 p.m., our monthly due. So it's an all day of sewing for anybody who wants to join us for both. Just remember that you will have to, for the Craft and Chat link, you will have to use the Craft and Chat link. If you use Stephanie, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, it won't get you into the Craft and Chat, and vice versa. Okay? It's all there in the show notes. The other thing is, of course, what's coming up next Saturday? The coronation. Big deal. What's more important is it's the spring Idiot Quilter Retreat starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't have to be there at 8 a.m. I will be taking attendance. I'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, that's coming up this Saturday. Presenters are all lined up. I sent out to everybody that's registered an agenda for the day as well. So in case, if you have to run an errand or something, that's okay. You can leave and come back. That's part of the reason why I have pre-registration, so that, your spot doesn't go to somebody else. Come in, because everybody's got their spot reserved. So, you can judge your time accordingly. So that's this Saturday, as I said. Now, I've had a few cancellations. I don't have anybody on a waiting list. So if there's some of you last minute people out there that decided now that you can come to the retreat, I have 4 spots left. So do not hesitate. Act now. Send me an email and I will put you on the list for Saturday. Right now we're sitting at, I think 88. And I can handle 93. So there's 5 spots available right now. And I really appreciate it from those people who have life happen to them. They sent me an email to let me know they would not be able to show up for whatever reason. And I really appreciate that, because that means then I can do what I'm doing right now and saying, hey, I've got spots available. I do take attendance. That's because I was a teacher. And that's one of the things we do as teachers. We take attendance with that. So when you first log on, don't feel like once you're in the waiting room, give it a minute or two. I'll get to you as soon as possible. I have a feeling if suddenly I get a whole bunch of people coming in at once, I have to go down my list. I have to check off your name and let you in. So it might be a minute or two delay. Don't worry. I will get to you. I'll do that as fast as I possibly can. So not to worry. Now, here's why I take attendance. I have a retreat coming up in the fall. I always run 2 a year. I haven't got dates for that or anything yet. Probably be late September, early October, roughly. But you'll get advance notice of that. But the people who will get very much advance notice will be the people that were at this retreat. They will get advance notice and will be allowed a few days before I open it up to the general public to register if they want to come to that one. If someone doesn't show up on this retreat and do not contact me or basically give me a reasonable excuse, sorry if this sounds cruel, I put a little black mark next to their name. They will not be included in that list. I'm sorry, but I have to make it fair. And I think most people understand that. There are always people in society who wait to the last minute because something better might come up or something else changes. And I'm not talking about family emergencies or things like that. Or they've just decided they got up that morning and, yeah, I don't feel like it. Well, you signed up for it, kind of a thing. I expect you to, that's your word, okay? If I was charging money and it was a non-refundable deposit or something like that, I think you'd think some people would probably think twice, but I don't do that. You know that. So anyways, so this is the logic behind what I'm doing. Not being cruel, I'm just being real. Okay, so don't forget also we have the Friday night, this Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that all went out in the notice that I sent out to everybody that's registered. We have our cocktail party, which is always a lot of fun. So bring your favorite beverage, bring a snack if you wish. We'll probably be doing je Quilter, or je caca, or whatever it is they say on that Leon's commercial when they call it. And we've got some entertainment. I've lined up a little entertainment as well. And we're just going to have a good time. If you'd like to bring something along to share, to show and share, if you're one of the people that has submitted your pictures for the show and share slideshow that'll go on during the retreat, don't bring that because we already will have that. You can show us something different if you wish, and it doesn't have to be a quilt. It could be a bag. It could be some project you've done. It could be even knitting or crocheting, yes, or anything like that. A garment you've made, whatever. If you wish. If you don't feel like it, don't worry about it. That's very impromptu, very informal for that. So that's all coming up. And let's see. Okay, the next thing, but before I talk about the next thing, let's just see here if we've got any questions or
they're rubbing it in that BC was hot this week.
Yeah, okay. Rub it in. The rain did not stop us. Iser King is here. Glad to see you back home safe and sound. Loved all the BC videos. Made me a bit jelly. Ron says, did you rust in BC with all the rain and overcast days? No, Ron, but I damn near melted. Yeah.
No. You'd have to be a witch for that.
Oh,
that's something Jan would
geez, know. Jan, you'd know about that. Yeah. Jan says she's still not top drawer as of last night. Oh, Stephanie, you mean? Oh, geez, this is lingering. Whatever she's got. Well, that's too bad. I'll have to send her an email. Wendy, hello, Wendy. And Julie says, I have decided I need to quote myself some coasters. Okay. Oh, Julie says, Friday night, I'll bring my best mason jar. You might be a redneck when. Cocktail time. Alexander's excited about cocktails. Oh, there's Stephanie. Yay, Stephanie. How you feeling, Stephanie? Let's see. Next thing, I did send out an email to everybody that is on all my mailing lists. So some of you may have got a repeat one because, there's overlap in my mailing list. But I'm looking to have a meet and greet when we go to the Canadian Quilt Show in Halifax in June. And I know there are a few people out there that are also going. So I'm going to try to arrange something. I don't have the details figured out yet. I'm going to wait until after I get through the retreat to do all of that. But my idea is to set a time on one of the days, probably the Saturday, late afternoon, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. And, oh no, not the Saturday, the Friday of that, I think, which is that June the 8th, the Friday?
Oh, I thought it was, I'm not sure.
Well, whatever. All the details will be coming once I have it figured out. But at a local pub, there's one called Dirty Nelly's there, and I'll contact them and say, I've got this number of people. This is what I'm doing.
June the 9th is the Friday.
June the 9th is Friday. Okay. And could you maybe just set aside a little piece of your situation there for these people to come? But I want to be able to give them a fairly reasonable number when I know. So I've asked people that if they're interested in the meet and greet and they're going, of course, to the Canadian Quilt Show, just let me know that you'd be interested in this, and that will give me a rough number, and then I will figure out the time, the date, all that kind of stuff. I think Dirty Nelly's is very close to the convention
It's
center.
right next door.
Oh, it's right next door. Okay. And, I'm not paying for your drinks or anything like that. But if you want to stay and have dinner there, maybe, or something as a group, maybe we could have dinner or something like that. But I want to see what kind of response we'll get from them first. And then
it may end up having to pick a different place. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if there's some few options available for us. So
yeah. But right now, what I'm asking for is if you think you'd be interested in that and you're going, then let me know. This is not a commitment on your part. It just gives me a ballpark figure to present to wherever we have this at. Okay. So if you got the email about that, you know this. If you didn't get an email because you're not on one of my mailing lists, then just drop me a line saying, yeah, I'm going. I'd be interested in meet and greet. Okay. I mean, you're not all going because they're all over the world. I mean, Nadine Logan's probably not going to make it. She's in France. So, and then Lucy's in England. So, and that kind of thing. And Derek's over in Scotland, I think. So, whatever. Ron says, I'm always interested in drinking. I've heard that about you, Ron. And of course, Stephanie is going to be there. And I think Cheryl's going to be there. Let's see. I'm just backing up here. Yeah, Stephanie says she's feeling a lot better. That's good, Stephanie. I'm glad. Julie says, you guys are lucky. Stephen and Walter, so many people get sick after flying for travel.
We haven't gotten sick yet. So
knock wood. Knock wood.
We didn't on the way there, and we didn't on the way back.
No.
So far.
So far, we're good. Yep. Jan says she'll be there in spirit. Oh, Jan.
And
just come.
We weren't masking or anything like that either.
No, we weren't. Nobody was. Except the flight attendants.
The flight attendants started with masks on, then they took them off.
Then they took them off, yeah. Patsy says we went to a place called Dirty Nelly's when we went to Ireland.
I think there's a lot of Dirty Nellies in Ireland.
My grandmother, my mother's mother, who was a very prim and proper lady, her name was Nellie. I don't think she'd appreciate being referred to, or, well, she's dead now, so it doesn't matter, being Dirty Nelly. Logan there. Yes, I'll be in Halifax. Yeah, Cheryl, I got your email about that too, so you're on the list. Okay. Also, be sure to watch So Chatty this week because we're going to go in depth into the 5 main quilt shops. 6. There were 6. Yeah, I have 6. 6 main quilt shops that we went to. And we're going to talk about what we bought then as well. But I am going to show you right now a little sneak peek of what we bought. And I'm just going to call up my pictures here so you'll get a feel for this. Okay, so these are the fabrics that I bought at our first stop. Now this was in Vancouver, and this was on something called Granville Island, which is a real touristy destination. A lot of restaurants. They have a huge market there that sells, like sort of like a farmer's market, but more than that, seafood, baked goods, coffees, teas, jewelry, all kinds of things like that. Any of you that are familiar with the St. Lawrence Market in downtown Toronto, it has a feel like that for it. A little bit more upper end scale though than that, I think. But anyways, on Granville Island was a little store. I had checked it out before we went, so I was interested to see what it was all about, and it was called the Cloth Shop. Very, very tiny.
Very small.
But I did see a few things, as you can see here, that I wanted. I bought the bundle on your right hand side, the bundle of the prints that look like old books, old pictures, and that all came as one bundle. I bought two bundles actually. They have the same fabrics in it. They're just fat quarters. But I thought they were kind of interesting. Now, I don't often buy things that have, I don't, what do you call these, novelty prints or things like that. But this attracted my interest. What am I going to do with it? I have no idea.
Actually, I have some fabric upstairs and not very much shortage of it that might go with that.
I'm thinking this would make also possibly, as opposed to a quilt, maybe a bag, or one of the bags by Annie's, but one of the more elaborate bags. I think it would look really cool in that. The row in the middle was another fat quarter bundle that I just thought was kind of interesting. Of course, the blues attracted me, but that print at the bottom, actually could throw that print in with the other ones too. Yeah, so at that point, this was our first quilt shop, and there are not a lot of quilt shops in Vancouver. In fact, this was the only one that we could find in Vancouver, in the city of Vancouver. There was another place, but it was a fabric store. But Walter led me down into.
Well, it turns out this fabric store was in. It was no longer. It still has a website, but it's no longer in the location it said it was. So I don't know if it still exists or if it's closed down.
Yeah.
But that location was closed down, and it happened to be in the area where all the homeless gathered and drug users and things
like that. It was kind of scary.
Yeah, we walked through that area and we felt a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's on the video actually, if you check out those. The other thing that's sitting over to the left side is a kit. It's to make a table runner. It's a Christmas table runner. It's in batiks. But the reason I bought it was because it was marked as 50% off. So I got it for half price. I think it was around $35 full price. And it was ended up being $17 or $17.50. So I thought, it's always good to have another type of table runner. And these fabrics, really, I don't know why they call it Christmas table runner, because I was looking at the fabrics and they're not really all that Christmassy.
No.
They're just batiks. So anyways, but I picked that up. So that was first place. Now, just before I go on to the second place.
Maybe it's just a table runner they sold at Christmas.
Yeah. Shirley's here. Hi, Shirley. Judy L will be in Halifax with friends. Okay. Judy, can you send me an email about that if you're interested in the meet and greet? And if your friends are interested in the meet and greet, they're more than welcome too. And, just write that down and tell me that there's going to be 5 or 6 of you, or 5 in total. You've already said that. And I'll add you. The reason I'm asking you, even though you're saying this now, is just so I'll remember. Because after this is over today, I probably won't remember. So if I have an email, then a message from you, then I will. Who else is here that I didn't say anything to? Oh, Jean Brittenham is here at Kept in Stitches. Glad you made it. And yeah, Julie says that's the darkest collection of Christmas fabric I ever saw. Yeah, I know. It doesn't scream Christmas, but that's okay. Table runners are fun. Okay, next store we went to. Now, this one's called the Troll Brothers. And I think I reviewed their website back a while ago. So they were in sort of they were on our way to Nanaimo, weren't they? No.
Yeah, they were on our way to Nanaimo, but we took a side trip to get there. It wasn't that far off the beaten path, to a small town. I can't remember the name of it.
I don't know, but it was definitely a one-horse town. It looked like something from, what was that show? Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
They had like a post office on one corner, a general store on another, and the quilting store. And so we went in. They had a really great selection of fabrics. They were small, but they were mighty. And these are the ones I picked up. So
they're in a place called Shawnigan Lake.
Shawnigan Lake, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the island, on Vancouver Island.
Yeah. So on the left-hand side, I picked up this fat quarter bundle. Now, I'm thinking some of these colors might be what my sister-in-law has in mind, except there won't be enough here to
No,
make a
no, no.
quilt, but I don't know. Um, I thought they were a little unusual because of the patterning in some of these. I haven't really, some of these, yeah, I could get ones that are similar to it, but it's an interesting collection. And I'm keeping all the fat quarter bundles together because my plan is to find fat quarter friendly patterns or patterns that I could use fat quarters in, and because they're already all coordinated, I would use those to make a quilt or whatever. I might have to supplement them with other fabrics as well, but that's my idea. Rather than breaking them all up, I mean, half the effort is done for you in the picking of the colors. Now, these ones here, these were 1 meter, or were they half meter? No, they were a meter. They were a meter cut, and I bought 3 of them. And I don't have them opened up here, but there are different colors in each one of these bundles. So when you open it up, there's more to each one, but they're all slightly different. I just thought it was kind of an interesting pattern. Also, almost reminds me of Spider-Man in some
Well, that's
ways.
similar to that fabric that I bought upstairs for shirts that I've used. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
similar design,
yeah.
but the colors are a little different than what I have seen before. So
And then the strapping you see over the side, I bought that there as well. They sold it by the meter. It wasn't particularly inexpensive for it by the meter, but it's what you could use on bags. And I'm sure it's out there. I've never really gone looking for it, but I saw it there, decided to get it because I thought this was great for, bag making, for your
yeah,
handles or
actually, it was a little
straps.
bit different because most of the times you see solid color
Mhm.
straps, and this one was multicolored straps.
Yeah, so I picked those up too, but as I said, they weren't particularly cheap. Um, I'm just looking here at what people are saying. Scrunchions. She says, how were the Nanaimo bars in Nanaimo? Don't know. Didn't have any. Nanaimo was a little bit of a letdown. Good thing we were only spending one night. There's nothing there, and even my brother said, "Oh yeah, Nanaimo." So
Yeah, you know, we had a bit of a time finding a place to eat too.
yeah,
So
it wasn't particularly well. I wouldn't have wanted to spend any more than unless you were going to use Nanaimo as your central spot and you were
yeah,
radiating out around it. Yeah, I don't think it's worth the trip to Nanaimo for Nanaimo's self.
yeah.
You know. Um, Audrey Lynn is here. Hello, Audrey Lynn.
Unless we didn't really see the best parts. But
Maybe, but I don't know. We looked in places, but
yeah, we
whatever.
drove around quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so this is
that was in Nanaimo.
yeah, this
Yeah,
this was Surge. No, this wasn't. This was
Surgeon
Snip and Stitch. Snip, not Sip.
Snip.
Snip and Stitch. Interesting shop. In fact, the owner of the shop, she knew Shirley, the shop owner of Ultimate Sewing out here, because they're both Janome dealers. Plus, that store had every sewing machine going. But I didn't see a lot of fabric in there that I couldn't get anywhere else. But I did come across their fat quarter selection, and this was not a bundle. I picked these out myself. From what they had there. They were having a sale, but I thought the sale included fat quarters. It did not. They were already their everyday low prices, apparently. But very nice people. But then I saw this, and it has gnomes on it. Gnomes for the Holidays Applique Calendar Canada. So each one of those is supposed to be one of the months. And it's applique, whether I get around to it or not. But they had a little contest going on when we were in there. That was 20% off, but then you had you pulled out an Easter egg out of a basket. They had those plastic little Easter eggs, and you opened it up and it gave you an additional discount on what you were buying, except for fat quarters. I got an extra 5%, so I got 25% off that pattern, or that pattern book, which was okay because that pattern book was $54, so I got 25% off that. But that's all we bought there. But it was a nice store too. Oh, and all their books. They had their books all on for 30% or more off because basically they're the ones by oh, what's the name of the company that makes quilting books and has for years and just closed down, went out of business.
I can't remember.
I can't. Yeah, somebody will know on here because they were famous for years and years. So let's see. No, my favorite. Okay. Then we went to a store. I only bought this. I held back. This came from a place called Serge and Sew.
Yeah.
I had a good conversation with the lady in there that was working out. We were talking about long arms and things like that. They had a nice selection, but the funny thing was in here, when we first walked in the door, it was like the music stopped. And the ladies that were there working on it turned and look at us. And then this Asian lady approached us cautiously. And I said, oh, hi, we're quilters, kind of a thing. Oh, okay. But then I was taking video and I just asked her, is it okay if I do some video? And at first I thought she was going to say no. Then I explained to her why I was taking the video and they said, oh, okay, fine, no problem. But then after we were in there for a while, there was no problem. But I liked this fabric.
It's a timeless treasure.
It's a timeless treasure, yeah. And I always like timeless treasures fabrics. But when I saw that, I mean, my color scheme to start with, and I just thought it was really cool. Not particularly cheap. I bought 2 meters of it. It was $22 a meter. Prices out west, for the most part, ran closer to like 20, 21, 22, 23 in some cases a meter for fabric. So not cheap at all. And this was the one. We didn't know where we're at. We're in Abbotsford now. And this is a town outside of Abbotsford called Bradner, I think.
Yeah, Bradner, yeah.
And this was called Chitter Chatter. Cute name. So we were following the GPS to get us there, and we were kind of going through country roads and things. And we come along and we go up this long laneway that's going into a farm, a big farm. And there's a big house there. And we almost turned around, but we proceeded up the laneway, and then we saw, okay, yeah, they have a little parking lot. They had goats. There was goats on the other side of the fence. In fact, you could feed the goats if you want to. They had a little machine that you could put a loonie in and get a handful of goat feed. And then we looked off to the side and saw quilts hanging outside, but it was at the bottom part of the house. The house was sort of built into the side of a hill, and you went down along rampway and walked in. Well, first of all, I thought, well, this can't be very big, because it had a sliding patio door to get into it.
And it looked like a real little cubby hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and if you saw the video, it's not. Well, it is small, but it's many
basically
rooms.
They've taken, it's the bottom of a house, so probably a basement, and they've taken all the rooms and made them into fabric hole that held fabric, right?
And they had quite a collection. And on that video, one of the ladies that works in there, she took us around and gave us a little tour of the store, which was really nice. So I picked up these 3. Now these are the indigenous prints that I already have yardage of these and other fat quarters, but I nailed it when I saw it because that stuff's not that easy to get. This goes outside of my usual aesthetic. These are more vintage looking, 30 stylish sort of thing. But it kind of appealed to me. So I picked them up. Now the ones on the other side, this is a real mix here. You go from native to 1930s to juicy juice. And Walter likes juicy juice. You've made...
I haven't made anything with that,
made...
but I have a bunch of fabric from Juicy Juice.
Yeah, well, I like Juicy Juice, but it's very graphic in its design and very modern. So I'm going to save this for making something that's truly a more modern style of quilt. Let's everybody catch up here on what people are saying. Martingale, that's it, Barb. Yep. Lucy says, I found 2 cute quilt shops in Nanaimo. It was a bit run down as a town. The main street was good. Behind the casino, we found 2 good restaurants. Museum was fun. The whale watching trip was good. We never saw any listings for quilt shops in Nanaimo.
Yeah, oh no, we went to the one, the Sip and ones that.
Oh,
those
yeah,
are in
that's
Iowa.
right. Yeah, that's right. That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Was the Surge, the Surge?
Surge and Soul and the Sip
Sippin'. Oh,
Spit.
yeah, okay, that's right. They were in Nanaimo. Yeah. Well, thank you, Janice. Yeah, Juicy Juice, the floors are very masculine. Yeah. Yeah, I like the Juicy Juice stuff too. And this one was a real surprise. This is Carol's. Carol's. I don't know how you say it. It's Carola. It's her name.
Corolla.
Corolla. I don't know.
Corolla.
I
It's
keep
like in a Toyota Corolla.
Oh, it's not spelled that way.
No, I know,
But
sort of
anyways,
like
but this was another one that was a little adventure we were following. It was outside of Abbotsford. It was Chilliwack, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Chilliwack area.
Yeah, it was near Chilliwack. Yeah.
And we had to go up a mountain.
Yeah.
The road just kept going around and around and around, and we finally get there, and there's a house. And not a huge house.
A house sort of in the side of a hill.
Side of a hill. So we kind of pull into the driveway, but there is a sign, a small sign on a garage door that says it's this Corella's quilt shop or whatever. But I wasn't sure how you got into it. Now, we could see through the windows of the garage that there was fabric. So we thought, well, we'll go up to the front door. But as I'm coming to the front door, this lady and another person came out, and it was like, ooh, I wouldn't be surprised that they'd reach around and grab a shotgun right now. Like, what are you all doing here on my property? So she gave us this look, and I said, hi, are you a quilt shop? And she goes, yeah, I am. She says, but I do it by appointment. I said, oh, did not know that. I said, we're quilters. She says, oh, well, usually I do it by appointment because I'm not always here. But I'm here today, so no problem. She says, I'll let you just go around to the side and that door and come on in. So her whole garage was converted over to sort of a shop in there. It was a little squishy, a little disheveled a bit.
Yeah. She's also was a distributor for Orifil threads. And so she has a ton of stock of Orifil threads
in there. But she does have a website. Just look for Corolla's. What's she called? Corolla's Thread Works, I think, or something like that. Can't remember. But she was just a character. She was showing us all these quilts, and she is definitely into doing very modern and very unique techniques.
Carola's
Quilt
shop in Chilliwack, British Columbia. And it's at it is Carola's Quilt Shop, all one word.com. It's CarolTShop.com.
Yeah. Now she doesn't have a huge selection of fabrics, but I did find some. I'll talk about those in a minute. But she herself, she was showing us these different. My mind was exploding with what she does, and it's incredible.
Extremely nice lady.
Yeah, very nice. She couldn't have been more hospitable. Hospitable, yeah, as well. So I did buy a few things here. Now on the far right, this was a little kit. It's for, she calls it an easy Bargello table runner. And she even includes the binding for it. These strips are for binding. But you had to go to a site, but she had it on the package, and I did that actually earlier today, and I downloaded the pattern for it. But I kind of like the fabrics. They're, again, a little bit different than what I've usually found. The same with these in the middle. Now, not my color palette. And those on screen, these are reading a little bit more pink than they actually are. They're a little bit more red. uh, some of these. But again, I thought these were kind of unique. But this one, this fabric is fantastic. When you open it all up, I have never seen anything like
if
it.
she hadn't said that, like she was trying to save it for
Yeah.
herself type of thing, it's too bad. If she hadn't said that, I would have bought some for a shirt because I
Yeah.
think that looks really cool.
She only had one bolt of it. And I said to her, are you selling any of that? And she says, well, she says, I should, but I don't know. She says, because I really like it. It's by Moda. So probably can find it somewhere online from
But
Moda.
it's very interesting.
Unless to, but it's very interesting, and she cuts it into, as she explained, she cuts it into fussy cut pieces and that for some of her modern quilts. That's all in that video from that day as well, and you'll see what she's talking about. But a very interesting lady. We spent a fair amount of time in there talking with her. She was more than happy to show us all kinds of things. And I thought I was bad for hanging on to my quilts. She has never given any of her quilts away. She has every quilt she's ever made, and she's been quilting for 50 years, she said. So I don't know where she stores them in there. And she's also a long armor as well, and she uses the long arm in kind of an interesting, different ways as well for her creations. I asked her if she's ever won an award. She says she doesn't enter shows, but she loves to teach, and she does run workshops and things like
She
that.
had some really interesting ideas
Oh,
on how
yeah.
to do things.
And her stuff was
Yeah.
really very modern, but very, very nice. Oh, Dana says Corolla is a great vendor. Red Deer Quilt Show. I'm just reading what people say. Yeah, she does a lot of. She asked me what my color palette was, and I says bold and beautiful, and bright. And she says, yeah. She said that got her real excited. She says that's exactly what she liked, and that's when she started showing us the K facet things, right?
And we asked her if she was going to be in Halifax, but she isn't. But she will be in Edmonton next year.
Yeah. Hi, Lynn. She finally got to join. Been on the phone. Okay. How dare you be on the phone when we're on the air? Carol says, I looked online for that Moda fabric. Only found one place that had what seemed to be the print in pinkish colorway. Yeah, I think she's been sitting on this for quite some time, so it may be, gone now.
Out of print or whatever.
But I asked her if I said to her, well, I'd like to buy 2 meters of it. But I said, if you really don't want to give it up or that, I said, that's fine. But she said, okay, she would. So yeah, sweet talked her into that. So I'm saving that for something special. Don't know what that will be, but for something special. Oh, that's it. Now there was another shop, but I don't have any pictures of it because I didn't buy anything there. And that shop was called Black Sheep. And at first it was kind of difficult to find because it was actually located inside, let's go here, located inside a Joann's. Was it a Joann's?
No. It's inside of Fabricland.
Oh, a Fabricland, yeah. It was a
And we did
Fabricland.
go in there, but I didn't really see anything that was too unusual in there. We didn't look. I felt a little uncomfortable in there.
Yeah, it was weird because she's got this part that's sort of partitioned off inside the store, and all around her store on the outside of her blocked off area is more of Fabricland's
And
quilting
like,
cotton.
there is Fabricland quilting cotton that is actually in Fabricland, and then there's the stuff that she has. So that was a little strange.
Yeah, it was a little strange. Now, the only thing I could think of was that maybe she also is the franchise owner or whatever of that particular Fabricland as well.
That's a
or
possibility.
related
Or
to somebody else.
related to them in some way.
Just something I'd never seen before. But her prices weren't wonderful, and
I didn't really see anything that I had not seen
before. It was kind of blasé, so
No.
we didn't buy anything. And I think I did have it on one of my videos, a little bit of it, but yeah, wasn't really worth the effort for that one. So anyways, on So Chatty this coming week on Friday, we will be going into more in-depth detail about each one of these stores, our reactions, and other things that we haven't talked about here as well with it. So that's on Friday. Okay, so let's, oh yeah, when we came home, just as an aside here, we checked out our grow lights, our harvest. Wow. We have green peppers, people.
And we have
And
tomatoes that are
tomatoes.
ripe.
Yeah, that are right. Yeah. And our lettuce was getting to the point, like we had a lot of it, but Walter kind of cleaned it up a little bit. We ate some
Yeah,
of it last
some
night.
of it was getting like kind of tough and old.
Yeah.
And we had some dead leaves in there, so I cleaned it all up.
Yeah.
So we got a fair bit of lettuce. We don't need to go out and get lettuce anytime soon.
No. Oh, Sean's here. Hi, Sean. Well, 2 out of my 3 presenters are here for the retreat on Saturday. Okay. So, how was the trip? Well, you've heard us mention the weather. The weather sucked.
Well, we had some days where it wasn't too bad. But then we had a few days that it was really, really, really rainy. We had other days that would rain off and on. We had a few days that were acceptable, I guess.
Well,
it was cool. It was cool. It wasn't so bad. It was cool, but it was when it was like constantly raining, which was a nuisance on those days. But there weren't too many of those days that was constantly raining. So.
We got used to it, and well, we knew we weren't going there and expecting.
Well, I kind of when I booked the trip, I thought, that time of year it can be nice, it can be shitty. I was hoping for nice, but as you always do. But actually, it was fine.
Yeah,
we had some actually really decent days, and what was also nice was because of the time of the year and maybe also the weather. It was just before the higher season for travel there, like for when the tourists really, I guess May 1st is really what they consider the start of tourist season.
Yeah.
So we were just a little bit before the start of tourist season, so it wasn't really, really, really busy everywhere. There were tourists, but it wasn't really packed, right? So I think that was kind of nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, and the flight there, it was as smooth going right from the get-go.
Yeah, it was really good when we got to the airport. We had pre-booked to get into security, but actually when we got to security, there was nobody in security. We were like number 1 person. So it's like the airport was deserted. So we went right through security. It was a breeze to get there. Our flight pretty much left on time, and got in on time. And same thing with the way back. It was a breeze to get through security, and our flight was pretty much on time. And
I didn't get strip searched. I was surprised. I didn't even have to take off my belt.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit less intense if you're flying in Canada.
And they're nice.
And the staff at the airport were really friendly.
Yeah, like I was like, whoa, this is what I was not expecting. So anyways, everything went without a hitch. We got to the airport. We got a taxi. It takes about 30 minutes or 35 minutes to get from the airport to our hotel. We checked right into our hotel. Great place that Walter picked. It was like centrally located to everything. So
yeah, we had Rolex watches we could buy across the road.
Or we could have gone all around the corner to Tiffany's or to Gucci or to Prada. They were all there. Yeah. Go in and get myself a pair of Prada.
We were like 2 blocks from the liquor store, and
that was important. With that as well. Let the games begin. So
there was a food store across the road from us. Actually, the unit that we had was efficiency unit, so we had not that we cooked anything there, but we could have if we wanted to.
We had dishwasher, we had an oven, microwave, a coffee maker, all the stuff, creature comforts, toaster,
And
and all that.
so all our places we stayed were really good. And even the last place we stayed at a more luxury hotel, the Sutton Place, and they upgraded us to actually a room that had a full fridge and stove and everything
Yeah, they
else in
called
it
it the
too.
King's Suite. Went,
Yeah.
holy crap, this is nice. With that, and I just want to say hello to a few people who have joined us a little late. Not that I'm counting. Rebecca's here, and Mary Ann, and Persetta is here, and yeah. So yeah, yeah. Sounds like you have a great travel agent. Yeah, Walter does a good job on that. I can't complain. Um,
And the
so
place we stayed in Victoria was really nice.
yeah, yeah. So that was great. So yeah, right across the board. Yeah, the place in Victoria was fantastic. It was a house. Well, it was an apartment building in the 1920s or 1930s. Over the years, it had been, redone many times over. At one point, it became a B&B, and now it's a full-fledged like hotel. But the rooms are all decorated in the style of the house. It was a Tudor style apartment building kind of a thing. The rooms are all furbished very tastefully in the
Well,
Victorian
actually,
style.
there are things reasons I picked. Actually, it was very highly recommended on TripAdvisor with reviews, which I know some of the reviews can be fake and stuff like that. But I looked at it. It was very close to the central area of Victoria, which is around where the Empress Hotel is, which is a more expensive, older hotel. And so I thought location was good. It offered parking included and a full breakfast included. And it is being run as a bed and breakfast. And the real selling point was no one under the age of 16 was allowed
Yeah.
to stay. So it was an adult oriented location.
Yeah, so there were
So
no baby strollers, no screaming children, or anything like that. Now, the breakfast that they had each morning, you had a choice between light, sweet, or savory. So the light was like
like granola
and
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 fruit
things like
or
that.
oatmeal and fruit,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
The sweet, of course, is what to be expected, like pancakes, waffles, that kind of thing. And the savory was, eggs, bacon, or ham, or eggs Benedict. They had one morning. I think there was an omelet another morning. Something. All the food was fantastic, and they come and they bring you coffee, they'd bring you juice. They had a couple of choices of juice, and then you had some sides you could pick from. Like one morning it was Greek style potatoes.
And yeah, one morning was Greek style potatoes. Another morning was another type of potato and sausages or something like that, or you could have something in bacon or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, they came and they offered you croissants or a scone
Yeah,
as well.
they had like blueberry scones that were like packed with
Yeah.
blueberries, and they were all house made, so it wasn't like you were getting anything. And then there was one day we ordered what was it? We had was it French toast
Yeah.
that we had? We had French toast. They had pure maple syrup with it, and they came and it had some fresh whipped cream with it.
It was really good.
Decadent and
It
nice.
Yeah, decadent and nice. It was. And I was going to say too, they bake all their baked goods right there on site. And when you first arrive and you go into your room, sitting on your bed is a little bag, a nice little bag, with a couple of homemade cookies in it, and the cookies were really nice. The way I like my cookies, I
Yeah,
like
they had
soft
like
cookies.
raisins and cranberries in
Another
them and
thing,
stuff
they
like
were
that.
really quite good as well. And I loved the bathroom in that place, except if you were somebody that had some mobility issues, it
Yeah.
might not have been good. They had an old style cast iron claw bathtub, and they had a very modern shower head in it. You know, it was
They had a
sort of
rain shower
circular,
head
right?
in it. Yeah.
And it had its own heating system to it. Like it wasn't dependent on, you know, going through all the pipes in the whole place. Now you could adjust it. It was really nice, but it could be a death trap getting in and out of it because it was a little bit
Well,
raised up.
however, that particular house, like what they had done is, it was the original house that we were in, and it already said on the booking that that was not that particular house was not didn't have any elevators in it. So if you had to go up 2 or 3 stories, you had to walk up them. So they were not. If you had some mobility issues, you couldn't use that, right? However, they did build a newer house next to it, done in the same style, but that house was all mobility, had mobility availability because they had ramps to get up to it,
Yeah.
and they had an elevator built in. And I think that's in Canada. There's a requirement for businesses to have mobility. What do you call it? Considerations
Accessibility.
for accessibility for anyone by the end of 2024. So they were probably trying to accommodate
Yeah.
that.
But it was a nice place with it. Now, I'm just going to say hello to Philippa right now because she's just joined us. Jan says the best part was the kitty pic in your room. Yeah, well, Jan, I had to put that in the video just for you because I knew you'd like that. They were even though they were in a more traditional aesthetic as far as their decor was concerned, they definitely took into consideration that people were going to have electronic devices because at first I was looking around going, oh, it's only outlets. But on one of the bedside tables, there was a little box that you could plug into regular outlets into it. Plus, they had 2 USB ports in it. The only thing I think would have made that better is that they had another one of those on the other bedside table too. But I mean, we were able to, I always come prepared for lack of connections. I have little devices and things I can plug into one outlet and run 1,000 other things from if I need to. And they had a couple of very nice little half bottles of wine, a red and a white, sitting there that could be yours to drink while you're there for only $18.99 a half bottle.
Now, mind you, they did include, they had an ice bucket there. There was no like fridge or anything else in the room, but they had an ice bucket there. And I went down and they filled the ice bucket for us. Yeah. And it did have a complimentary bottle of filtered water for us there. So.
The other thing that really impressed me, because now this will sound really picky, but bathrooms in hotel rooms really bug me if they don't have counter space, because where are you going to put all your shit, right? Your toothbrush, your shaver, your moisturizers, your makeup, all that stuff. Your Depends, whatever. And I hate it. I like to lay my stuff all out by the sink in a hotel room, so when I get up in the morning, the products that I need are there for me to use. I don't want to put them back in the bag and that way. Well, this place had a pedestal sink because it fit the decor, right? But they thought about this, and they had a wire shelving unit that fit into the decor but was right next to the sink from the floor to the sink height, which had lots of little shelves on it for putting all your crap. And they had another one just on the opposite side too. So that impressed me because somebody actually thought about this.
They also had, what was nice is a heater inside the bathroom that would heat the bathroom extra warm for you if you're cold.
And they had a little night light that went on automatically when you got up to have a little pillow. Yeah.
So like it was very well thought out. It was
very well thought out, the whole place. So yeah, highly recommend it. If you're out in Victoria, look up Abigail's. Now someone has said, I think it was Barb, she says the cookie recipe that I was talking about is on their website. I'm going to check that out. I didn't
recall seeing that, but yeah, they are. The only thing is that I usually try to book hotels that have a cancellation policy. That's like within 24 or 48 hours. This one was a 7-day cancellation policy. So that was a little bit, but I figured if for some reason we had to cancel the trip by the time we would know that, I would know it in advance of the 7 days.
Yeah.
So
So that was in Victoria, but let's back up to Vancouver. There were places that we ate. You never know. When you're on a trip, we have a tendency to pick the bad places to eat, you know, and we were trying to be very selective. But I don't think we had in the whole trip.
we never had anywhere where we really hated where
No.
we were eating.
Mind you, trips we've been on in the past over the years, a lot of them were on a much more strict budget because
Yeah,
food was not cheap. Okay, nothing
Yeah.
was cheap about this trip. I can tell you that right now. If you want to know, we ended up, I figured it out the other day, we spent close to $8,000 on this trip. And that's not including airfare because we didn't have to pay that because we had points. Went on
yeah.
points.
So between the hotels and the car rental and the food, added up. But
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays that's not. If you look at packaged vacations per week, double occupancy, that ends up for the number of days that we were gone. We were gone 13
Yeah.
days. I don't think it's necessarily.
I mean, it wasn't a shock.
And we didn't.
We knew this.
We didn't stay in the absolute cheapest places to stay.
No,
so.
we didn't. With it, you know, like we always tried to get a hotel that's very
I mean,
much
in the past,
downtown core.
in a long time ago in the past, we would nickel and dime and get the cheapest places to stay in. But
Yeah.
this time
We're too old for nickel and dime.
I didn't get the really expensive places, but I didn't get the ultimate cheapest places.
Well, everything has gone up in price, and food for sure in restaurants. I mean, you hell with it. On average, you were paying for whatever you were eating 22, 23, 25.
Yeah, like
26.
hamburgers were anywhere from $22 to $28 for a hamburger in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So,
but we did one place that was kind of cool that we ate in Halifax, or not in Halifax, in Vancouver, was the Ale Brewing Company. I think it was a local microbrewery kind of place. It had an interesting atmosphere to it.
yeah.
Where else did we eat in Vancouver?
Got Sabas that your brother took.
No, that was in Vancouver.
Oh,
that was in
okay.
Abbotsford.
That's an
I'm trying to do this in chronological order here. I can't remember where else we ate. We got Subway the first night.
Yeah, I know, only because we were hungry and we didn't know where else to go.
Oh, we got some. My niece recommended when we came back to Vancouver after we had seen them in Abbotsford and that. She recommended a place called Brecca,
which is a small chain of that's just in the Vancouver area of it's like a pastry shop that also sells sandwiches and things like that, and coffees and specialty coffees and that. And actually, that was really good.
Yeah, that was good.
And so like we picked up a couple of sandwiches and some chocolate eclairs.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
And brought them back to the hotel.
Yeah, that night. But anyways, that's what sticks out in my mind. I can't think of anything else there. So then we took the ferry over to Victoria, and Walter had already booked it. But one of the things it said on that, they gave you a window of time. If you arrived too early for that window of time, they would reject you. And if you arrived after that time, they would reject you.
Yeah, so you had a 1 hour window in to get there. And
that was only half an hour.
It's an hour.
Oh, was it an hour?
Yeah.
Okay, but whatever way. So we're approaching the place where you go in through the gates to get to the ferry, right? Where you show them that you have a reservation and everything like that. We're about 5 minutes earlier than our reservation
you're right.
time.
I think it was half an hour.
Yeah, it was half an hour.
Yeah.
We're 5 minutes earlier than that. So we pulled over to the side of the road and waited. And we got there. Now, I don't know whether
I don't know if they would
strictly
actually do
enforcing
that. But but I think it's probably
Bye, Sean.
because they have had problems with other people showing up way too early and it caused traffic issues.
So, anyways, we got there into the lineup and everything, and that was fine. And on to the ferry, and then we're sitting down, and all these rows of chairs and everything, and there's children,
Yeah,
children.
we ended up sitting at a place right next to the play area
Yeah, not a good thing. Then Walter decides he has to find a bathroom, so he goes finds bathroom. He comes back and goes, "There's a place up further up here near the
near the front,
front.
or
Actually,
it's near the back. Actually,
yeah, he says they've got really comfortable chairs in there and glass all the way around. You can look out and that, but they charge and they give you some like a newspaper or something like this, and it's $14 a person. So I went up and took a look at it and saw, yeah, and they give you there's free coffee and there's food, snacky things, like nice snacky things like cheese and almonds and
yeah, like they had cheese and several different kinds of like biscuits or crackers or something like that, and donuts.
there was something they heat up, little pastries
Yeah, little
and stuff
pastries.
like that. And I went, well, for hell yeah, I'm getting up for $14 a person. I'm doing this. So I went back, waved Walter up, and says, "Come on!" And I paid our money, and it was glorious. It was absolutely
Not
glorious.
only that, it was an adult only lounge. It was an adult only lounge.
No kids were
No
allowed in
kids
there.
were allowed. It had its own bathroom.
Yep.
And it was promoted that if you needed to take a phone call or make a phone call to step out of the room, because it was promoted as a quiet area.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was really nice, and we got a little entertainment because there were two yahoos outside on the deck. Like we're all enclosed, right? But we can see through the windows. These two 20-somethings, kind of a thing, are stretching and running around. They got their track pants
Yeah, they
on
were
and
like
everything.
He-Man.
And then they've got some muscle, so they go to the gym. Like that's all they live for. And then they start jogging
Around the deck.
around
Like they
the
had
deck.
stripped off some of their clothes and started jogging around the deck. Well, you're not supposed to run on the deck. So
No, and because other people are out there walking around the deck, and some more older people. So if they know that they ran into somebody, someone's going to break a hip, and it's not going to be young guys. So one of the staff did come out and say to them, "No running on the deck," kind of thing. And one guy was going, "Well, how am I going to get in my workout and all this stuff?" Well, tough shit, sucks to be
But then
you.
there was these barriers at the end of the ship that were like all glass with metal frame, and they were quite tall. They might have been 12 feet tall or whatever. They get up on one of these boxes, like it's I don't know if it's electric box or whatever. Get up on one of these boxes and jump up at the top of this thing and start doing chin-ups on this thing. Well, they didn't end up telling them not to do that.
No.
But that's another one. That's another safety issue. If they had dropped off and broken their neck, then that's a problem too. So
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah. But I mean, we were inside in our comfy little chairs having our little munchies and our coffee and everything, so we were fine. And I was really looking forward to this on the way. I said, I'm going to pay this again for the return ferry. Guess what? The return ferry didn't have it.
no, they didn't have that option on it. It was only on select boats.
I was
that had
disappointed.
that. Yeah, I was too.
Because then we had these children that were running around with no adult supervision.
Yeah.
And they weren't like older kids either. These were like a couple of little girls that were just
And not only that, they had
like
them
6 years old.
They didn't have their shoes on. They're running around on the floor of the ferry that was probably not the cleanest. And
For damn right, if they came around the corner where we were sitting, it would have been so easy for me to stick my foot out and let's send the little child flying through the air, but I didn't do that. But they could have run into anybody or something like that and then hurt themselves, and then they probably start screaming their head off, and the parent would come up and get all uptight because somebody,
yeah, well, the parent was
that.
oblivious to these little girls, and she was too busy talking on the phone.
Yeah, to it all. So yeah. Anyways, we survived that with it all. So when we got to Victoria and we did all of that, and there weren't any quilt stores in downtown Victoria.
No, there's one that we would have had to drive to.
Yeah,
but they were closing in their doors, and they specialized in boutiques, I believe.
Yeah, or something like that. So we didn't get.
So we didn't go to that one.
We did do something I've never done before. we went into the legislature, the Parliament buildings,
Yeah.
because Victoria is the capital of BC, and we sat in on question period because they were in session for a bit. They were having a little discussion about drugs in there. Apparently, in
I guess in
BC,
BC, what they've done is like the higher and more um, uh, the more narcotics, the more
like
severe narcotics.
methadol and
Yeah,
all that stuff.
methadone and crack and all the
Yeah,
other things. They have allowed users of that product to be able to use small quantities of it on their own, right? Just so that they don't have issues with withdrawal and things like that. They were concerned that play areas would have drug paraphernalia or something like that found in those areas or things like that. So they were citing a situation where a girl found a small packet of drug in a play area, or
yeah,
kids finding
needles, things
like that in a play area or something.
It was nice to see, though, that in their legislature, just like it is here in Ontario, they yell at each other and call each other
However, I
names
don't know that would have been any worse whether the law was in whether they allowed people to do that or not, because those users would be carrying the stuff anyway.
Well, yeah, because they're addicts.
Regardless of whether the law says that they're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So,
but it was kind of interesting to sit in there and do it. Except the only thing was, their security was higher in there than in the airports, because I had to take my belt off when I went through security and everything. So, yeah, whatever. So we did that, and we ate in a couple interesting places in Victoria too. We ate in a Greek restaurant. That was pretty good. That we had.
We
that
also
night.
had that Italian restaurant.
Yes, that Italian restaurant. I had something called the fettuccine Marco Polo. And the reason I ordered it was because it had sort of a light lemon cream sauce and had mango in it and chicken and spinach. And it was really quite tasty. And Walter got some kind of thing that was like a lasagna, but
yeah, it was like an eggplant lasagna, but it wasn't in the traditional way you get a slice of lasagna. It was stylized differently.
Yeah, whatever. So it was good. Like I said, we didn't have a bad meal anytime we were out there at all. So yeah, we did Victoria. We were there, what, 3 nights?
3 nights. Yeah.
3 nights in Victoria. Then we drove up to Nanaimo, and you already heard the story about that. Yeah. 1 night in Nanaimo. Where did we eat in Nanaimo?
We ate at that Mexican place.
Oh yeah, Gina's. It was called. Little tiny place, but had good reviews. Was nothing really terribly fancy, but the Mexican food was. It was okay. It
wasn't really the best.
Spice.
It had a strange spice in it.
Better, but it wasn't horrible.
No.
Or anything like that. Then we took the ferry back to Vancouver, north end of Vancouver, and drove down.
Bay. Yeah. The original intention was I was going to go to Capilano Suspension Bridge that day, but it was rainy and miserable, so we decided not to do that.
So we drove down to Abbotsford, and we actually didn't tell my brother I told him I would text him when we arrived there, but I held back a bit because we did some exploratory on our own. We went around to where his house was to see where he was living and everything. So anyways, then we let him know that we're there, and he said, okay, well, let's go to this. It was a place not far from our hotel for dinner. Oh my God, was the place loud though. They had live music that night. It was up kind of a roadhousey kind of thing. Food was okay there, but you couldn't hear yourself think.
I have a feeling your brother wasn't really aware that was
no, but my brother had an advantage. My brother has 2 hearing aids, and apparently on his app on his phone for his hearing aids, he can redirect the sound so that he's hearing what's on what we're talking. That I wish I had those in at that point in time. But anyways, it was great to see my brother and our sister-in-law Margaret. We had a nice evening out with them then, barring the loudness of the music. guess we're getting old on that. But while we were there, my nephew, who's in England, at least I thought he was in England working there and has been for several years, he did a FaceTime call to his mother. And so we got to see him via FaceTime and talk to him. But I wish I could have heard more because it couldn't over the music. It was so loud. But he's in Australia now, and he's going to be there for the next 5 years. He got a position with the company he's working in Australia. His boyfriend Jack, he's going there too. He's got a transfer there, and yeah, so maybe next year we should go to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Sydney, so meet my or see my nephew. But anyways, we did the next day we went over to their place for dinner, and
actually they took us out for brunch, and
yeah,
then we had dinner later on that day at their place. And then the next day we went to your
to my nieces.
To your nieces.
But we got to meet my youngest nephew, Samuel, who's 21, 22 now. And to be honest, I have not seen my nephew since he was a little kid. And the last picture I saw of my nephew was a picture that was sent to my mother after my niece got married. Of course, Sam was in the wedding party for that. And I looked at that picture, and he looked kind of like heavy set, and the whole bit. He looked like my Uncle Rob, my father's brother, which is not a flattering thing. Well, no, he definitely slimmed out. Great looking boy, and talented. Oh my God, he does a lot of woodworking.
He buys old cars and fixes them up and resells them for a higher price.
Yeah. There's no flies on that kid. And he's going to school as well. He's doing aviation engineering as well. He's going to be to fix airplanes and stuff like that. And he does have a desire to learn how to fly as well. So he's really doing something with his life. And then the next night we went over to my niece's. And as I said, she's married. Now her husband was just coming. He was on a flight coming home from Las Vegas because that weekend, they were both involved in some like a stagette. Katie was involved with the stagette, and that was in Vancouver. And the groom and his groomsmen and everything went for a stag in Las Vegas. So we never did get to meet my niece's husband at all, which I was a little disappointed at, but hopefully we'll get to meet him at some point in time. But I had not seen Katie for a while either. Oh my God. She'll be 30 this year. What a bombshell. Wow. That girl is just drop dead gorgeous and smart. And she's got a really great job, and her house very nicely decorated, very tasteful with the whole bit. So, I mean, my brother and my sister-in-law did a good job of parenting. Their kids are and polite, and like so many of those kids at that age and the whole bit are obnoxious, like the jocks hanging off the things on the boat and things like. Not their kids. Just we had a really good time with them. I'm so glad that we connected, and we're going to carry on with the connection. Channels have been opened up. I learned a lot of things about the situation that that kind of sort of estranged us for a bit and whatnot, but that's neither here nor there anymore. That's gone. So yeah, so that was quite nice. And it was probably a good thing too that they were there in Abbotsford, because Abbotsford doesn't have a whole lot to see or do in it either. So they showed us a good time. Then we so from Abbotsford we went back to well, that's also where we went off to Chilliwack, which was about a half an hour away, and that we talked about the Corella, whatever her name is, thing, and did all that. Then we went back to Vancouver, and we had 2 more days of Vancouver. So we did do the Capilano suspension bridge.
Yeah,
which,
that was actually a nice day to go.
Yeah, it wasn't actually raining. It was coolish, but it wasn't raining, and it was expensive. It cost us for two of us like $128 for this. But want to know something? I'm glad we did it because it was much more than I thought. I just thought, well, it's one suspension bridge over a river kind of a thing, big deal. Watch the video, you'll see the fear in Walter's eyes. But there was a whole lot of other things there too to do, which was all very, very interesting. So I'm glad we did that. Um, the last day in Vancouver was sort of, it's the day before, we were going to go back to the airport and everything like that. And, that's always a letdown. We walked around, figured out how to get rid of the car, what we are going to do because it was there, and did that. And then the next day, we basically got up and out a little bit later because we didn't have to return the car until around 3 o'clock, and we had to top it up with gas and everything like that. And we had like lunch, someplace called Joey's, which
is a chain restaurant.
A chain restaurant. There's one in Toronto too. Yeah. We've never been to one, but that was it. It was okay.
No, we went to one in Ottawa.
Did we?
Yeah.
Was that the time that they poured the drinks on you?
No, that wasn't that.
Oh.
Well, no. That was in Ottawa the last time we were in Ottawa.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, whatever. And then we went to the Fairmont at the airport. Took a taxi there because that's where we're staying overnight. You get to an airport hotel. Oh boy, this hotel was expensive. It was nice. But don't touch any of the items, even if you want to look at them and pick them up that are there.
In the what do you call it?
Minibar kind of area.
Because he pulled the bottle of wine out of the minibar and put it back in again. And that counted as you used the bottle of wine.
Yeah. But of course, when we checked out, we told him.
Because, and luckily I didn't. I was going to go through the express checkout and where you just drop the cards in. Because Steve says, oh, you do that? I said, well, there's no line up there, so I'll just do that, right? And they asked if we had used anything in the bar.
Yeah.
Well, luckily I said no, we didn't. And when I saw the charge on our card, it was reversed. It would have been $49 extra. Yeah. But anyway, Barb was curious what the price of gas was in BC. Well, it depended on where we were. It could have been anywhere from about 183 to 193 per liter.
Yeah.
So multiply that by 4 for American gas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Barb's Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. No, thanks, Debbie. So anyways, that night at the hotel, you're just sitting around because our flight wasn't going out till 12 the next day. So we went down to the lounge area and had charcuterie and about 3 beers a piece. Like that was $128 bill for that, but it was kind of pleasant sitting there.
Yeah.
Especially once the 2 little kids in a bar were removed, went to Betty Bye. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. But there was another guy in there playing music as well. And what is it with these people who play in these places? I thought the whole idea of having this kind of stuff, was supposed to be for ambience. It's supposed to be like, it shouldn't interfere with your conversation. God, you couldn't hear yourself thinking there either.
Yeah, Barb, it's around 150 a year as well.
Yeah.
I think it started off, I think it just went up to about 154 now. But when we got home, it was 150. So, yeah.
But anyways, it was a good trip. I'm glad to be home. I mean, I was going through withdrawal, hadn't sewn anything. So of course, obviously, for that. So, yep. So as I said, check out So Chatty this week because we'll be talking in a little bit more finer detail and showing you some video excerpts and things like that about those quilt stores and the fabric that we bought and that kind of thing. So just it's time's up. It's time for us to go, but just retreat this Saturday, 8 a.m. You don't have to be there at 8 a.m., but that's when I'll have the doors open for it. Cocktail party the night before, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're going to the Quilt Show in Halifax in June and you'd like to do a meet and greet with us, then please drop me a line. Let me know that, and then I'll be sure to send to you the details of all that when I have it all figured out. And don't forget about Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen this coming Wednesday morning starting at 9 a.m. and then Craft and Chat in the afternoon starting at 1 p.m. Busy week. We're back in mode again here. We're back into the routine of things. So anyways, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.